the Governor of ZAMFARA State, Alhaji Abdulaziz Yari Abubakar Shetima Mafara, my sister, the Minister of Environment, Ajia Adiza Melafia, my brother, the Minister of Work State, Ambassador Yuguda, the Commissioner for Information, ZAMFARA State, and members of the State Executive Council, our royal fathers, the leaders and people of ZAMFARA State, members of the National Good Governance Tour, my fellow reporters, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, let me on behalf of the National Good Governance Tour thank the people of ZAMFARA State for the interest they have shown in this Citizens Forum. I can see the active participation cut across the various social sectors. Our traditional rulers, our royal fathers have taken the pen to come, and our people are all seated in the hall to take part in this forum. I truly appreciate them and the fact that they have turned out in this number to be part of this forum. Your Excellency, I also want to appreciate you and your government for the high interest we have shown in the National Good Governance Tour. And I know that you have not only shown us this interest, in the last 2 days or 3, you have stretched us to the limit, taking us to far-flung areas of ZAMFARA to see the projects that you are doing for the development of the people of ZAMFARA State. We still have more projects to visit, both for federal and state governments, and I'm sure between this evening and tomorrow, we will still be continuing with the tour to visit additional projects we have not seen, because our tour is to end tomorrow. But the Citizens Forum is today, because it's the best audience we can get for the forum, since it is a live event for both radio and television. Now, having said this, Your Excellency, I would like to start with the concept of the National Good Governance Tour. The concept for the benefit of our people in ZAMFARA is that we feel that this democracy, if it is going to work, various tiers of government must work together. The federal government, the state government, and the local government, and the private sector. Once people are elected, they no longer belong to their parties, they belong to the country. During elections, you may be a candidate in a particular political party. But the moment you are elected, you must leave your party and work for all the people. Because you are no longer the governor of a political party, or the president of a political party, or councillor of a political party, but for all the constituency. And that is why we felt that there is a need for leaders in the country to begin to discuss development. After our elections, after our appointments, we should be concerned with what we do for the welfare of the people of Nigeria, not bitter partisanship, which some people continue to promote. What we need now, before the next election, is to discuss development. How can the federal government help the states? How can the state governments collaborate with the federal government to develop their states? How can the state government help the local government to do their projects? How can the 3 tiers of government support the private sector to play their role? That is the purpose of governance. If you build a road, nobody needs a political party card to follow that road. If you build a hospital, nobody needs a party card to be part of that hospital to go for treatment. Like I said, welfare is for all the people. So we decided in the Federal Ministry of Information to run this program to discuss development. We are doing so in partnership with the Ministry of National Planning, the Office of the Special Advisor to the President on Performance Monitoring, as well as all the 36 governors. We agree with them together to run this program. And this is the 18th state we are visiting. This program has nothing to do with partisanship. For example, you will know that the federal government is PDP, ZAMFARA State is ANPP, but here are all sitting together discussing progress, working with your governor, look at what we can do together. That is how it should be. This is the example of how we can work together for the progress of our country. Now, the good governance tour was also decided because, like we were sharing with the governor, we find that whereas everybody is trying their best at different levels, you don't find this on the pages of newspapers. For example, all the roads we have been seeing here, the jobs of the federal government and the state government, you will not find it on the pages of newspapers. What we see always are negative stories or quarrel between personalities, not the progress of our country. This is not good for democracy. We believe that the media must focus on development, as well as if there are negative stories, you report them. But you cannot keep reporting negative stories, negative comments, as if there are no good things happening in our country. So we decided we should move out and see those good things that are happening and discuss with each other. And this tour has been an eye-opener. We have seen, for example, that all over the place, work is going on for the progress and development of Nigeria. I would like, before I come to ZAMFARA State, discuss a few things the federal government is doing at the national level. When President Goodluck Jonathan came to power, we found that there are so many sectors of our society that were comatose. I give you an example, and our elders here will remember that for the past 20 years, the trains have not been moving. The railways broke down completely. Nothing was moving. No train between east and north, between north and south. No train, nothing. And we're a big country of 467 million people. Everything in Nigeria has been moving on road. So you build road today, in another 5 years the roads are broken down. All the heavy duty equipment are carried on road in Nigeria. Nigeria is the only major country with high population that will allow its own railway to break down. The other area that was comatose was power supply. Even now, as I'm speaking to you, we still have a lot of power outages because our power program is still ongoing. Then in education, we had a lot of challenges of low quality, low infrastructure, both at the primary, secondary and tertiary levels. In agriculture, northern Nigeria, that was the pride of Africa in agriculture, not just Nigeria. Our agriculture came down completely. The granite pyramids disappeared. The cotton ginaries in ZAMFARA were leaping because the disconnection between government and farmers and of course the private sector. This program collapsed. And so what we had in this country was that things were not functioning properly. What has Mr. President done? What the government of Goodluck Jonathan has done is to decide on a national plan for the development of Nigeria. That plan is the transformation agenda, which is emphasizing three things. The first is good governance. All the problems we have had was because of poor governance. Our agriculture collapsed because of poor governance. Our railways collapsed because of poor governance. Our power did not grow according to the economy and population because of poor governance. So what the president is emphasizing is that if democracy will deliver, we must repair our institutions. The executive arm of government, the legislative arm of government, the judicial arm of government, all of us must do our work to give this country good governance. Then we must do clean elections so that only those that are elected are announced as leaders. And that is why the president is emphasizing in developing institutions, helping every national institution to function properly. Because without good governance, our schools collapse because of poor governance. So that is the first priority of government. The second one is infrastructure. What is the president doing in infrastructure? Let me tell you, people of ZAMFARA. One, you remember since Tafawa Balewa of blessed memory, every government promised to dredge River Niger to the north. We never did it. Now, under the leadership of late President Yar'Adua, may God bless his soul, he and President Goodluck Jonathan decided that they will dredge the Niger. Now, even though Yar'Adua is no more, the president has continued with the dredging of the Niger up to Niger State. Presently, we have finished the capital dredging of the Niger. This is what has happened. Now, the second thing we are doing is we have completed the seaport at Onitsha. We have about between now and May, we will complete the seaport in Baro in Niger State. We are building the seaport in Lokoja and the one at Ugwata in Imo State. So by the end of this year, all the river ports along River Niger up to Baro, federal government will complete them. So that if you want to bring things to the north, you don't only have to come by road, you can come by sea through the River Niger, right from Warri up to Baro in Niger State and distribute to the rest of the north. In addition to this, the president has also given the go-ahead to design the dredging of River Benue from Lokoja up to Yola. They will soon submit the design to us and the dredging will begin. We will then build river ports also in Makurdi as well as in Yola. The idea is to make sea transportation, river transportation effective in northern Nigeria. This is exactly what the president is doing to promote development in the north, to promote our own commerce. Now the second thing the president is doing is to complete the rehabilitation of the railways. You remember, you see the rail going from I think Zaria to Kana Namoda. We have started work on it. It is coming from the Zaria end. In the meantime, we have finished the revamping of the railway from Lagos to Kano. The train started moving from Lagos to Kano in December, and the train has been moving steadily every week between Lagos and Kano for the first time in many years. This is what the president is doing. Presently, the Minister of Transport, Senator Umar, is working on the railway line from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. By the end of this year, by the grace of God, the train will move from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri again after many years. This is the commitment of the federal government. This is definitely coming up. Then we are also building new railway lines. We are building a modern rail between Kaduna and Abuja. We are 50% completed now. It will extend from Abuja to Kano through Kaduna. We have started the modern rail line between Lagos and Ibadan. That one is coming all the way through Lokoja up to Abuja to link up with the one that is going to Kano. Then we have designed the one that is moving from Lagos through Benin right down to the coastal line, as well as Kontagora Dam. All of them are being done now. Then we are doing another dam in Benue, another dam in Yola, another dam in Taraba. All these dams are being done. We are completing the irrigation work at Hadejia in Jigawa State. All this we are doing because if the north is to take up and become what it was again, agriculture is the key. And we have assembled 450 billion naira loan, which is put together by the central bank and commercial banks and Ministry of Finance to make sure that we give some farmer support across the entire agricultural chain. And in different parts of the north, we have emphasized different crops. For example, in ZAMFARA, we want to make sure that ZAMFARA is a lead producer of rice and cotton. This is what we want here. And the federal government is collaborating with the state government to achieve this. In Kebbi, we are doing so. In ZAMFARA, we are going to build grain silos as well as rice processing plants and support your ginaries. We are just from one ginary now. So I believe that in the north, we have the capacity to feed Africa food, northern Nigeria. Sadona did so with peasants. But in the 80s, we collapsed our marketing boards, nothing was working. Now we are bringing back the marketing boards. We are not bringing them back as they used to be. We are bringing them back as private sector driven marketing boards with government support so that poor governance will not bring them down. And we are also going to process everything we produce. We are setting up new processing plants all over the country with collaboration with the private sector and supplying fertilizers and inputs to farmers. So these are big things that we are doing. Now, when you come to ZAMFARA, there are other things we are doing outside this. In terms of education, I would like you to go back, for example, to the College of Education here in ZAMFARA. You will see many projects that the federal government is doing. We went there with the governor this afternoon and we saw the number of projects, new lecture theaters, new postgraduate, new undergraduate school here at the College of Education Technical, then new hostels. We are doing them. At Polytechnic, Canada Model, we are doing the same thing. And they were also supporting the state in building new schools for our own Quranic, the children who go to Quranic schools, the Almajiri schools. We are building 3 schools in ZAMFARA, and we are building these schools all over the north. what the president promised is that we don't want to see 9.5 million children from the north on the streets. 9.5 million children, they go to Quranic schools, and these schools are not integrated with basic education. 9.5 million is more than the population of several countries in West Africa. These are the children that will develop Nigeria. So the president is building Quranic schools, which is handing over to state governments, so that children in the north can go to Quranic education and also build it up with basic education. And all the state governments are working in synergy with us to take over these schools. So across board, we are doing a lot of things, both here in ZAMFARA and in the rest of the north, to develop Nigeria. Now, I'll come back to ZAMFARA state. What have we seen in ZAMFARA? Your Excellency, my colleagues have mentioned a number of things. I don't want to mention them. I think the most important thing that we saw, which has not been adequately discussed, is peace. Peace and tranquility in ZAMFARA. And on this one, I want to commend Your Excellency. I want to commend our traditional rulers. I want to commend our community leaders. I want to commend all the leaders of ZAMFARA. Because when you read the newspapers today, you think that the whole world, the entire northern Nigeria is at war. You think that here you are not even going to the farm. If you pick our newspapers, you think that the people in this zone are no longer going to the farm. They paint us so black that even foreigners are afraid of coming to this part of the country. And I think this is wrong. That is why we are going on this tour. We have been driving from Birnikebi through Sokoto to ZAMFARA. And we have seen people doing normal work. We have seen peace. We have seen people on their farms. We have seen children on the street. We have seen women go about their duties. And I think this must be emphasized, that there is peace in significant portions of northern Nigeria, including ZAMFARA state. And for my governor, I have told you, Your Excellency, that any governor that cannot maintain peace in his state is not worth being a governor. That's the truth of the matter. Because peace and tranquility is a subject of community organization and relationship between communities and their state government. There is no way the federal government will go and enforce peace in my village. It is we who can design and work on that. Here in ZAMFARA, we are seeing evidence of good work, collaboration between the state government, security agencies, traditional rulers and community leaders. That is what is giving us peace in ZAMFARA. We have seen the same model in Kebbi State. And Kebbi is very peaceful. And I believe these models should be copied by other states in the north, so that we will have peace all over the north. Now my worry is this: the north is behind. Anytime we have a problem, our development is going backward. I can tell you that the economy of Nigeria is growing at about 7.5% for the past 3-4 years. But the majority of the growth is happening in southern Nigeria, because the private sector is afraid of coming here because of the negative stories that we hear. Now, I want to believe that after this talk, the media will emphasize the fact that in ZAMFARA there is peace, in Sokoto there is peace, in Kebbi there is peace. At least we have visited these places. And that is important for us. So, for me, the most important factor here is peace. And I pray the people of ZAMFARA, the youth of ZAMFARA, the women of ZAMFARA, and our traditional rulers, the number one priority must be peace and peace and peace and peace. Because without peace, there is no development. Without peace, all the progress we have seen in ZAMFARA, it will never take place. We won't have it. So we need peace. And we are prepared to collaborate at every level to ensure this peace. The second thing we saw in ZAMFARA, which I want to emphasize, Your Excellency, is that there is harmonious relationship between ZAMFARA state government and the federal government. And this is very important. So even though ZAMFARA belongs to an opposition party, yet we have good relationship between ZAMFARA and the federal government. And the Minister of Work State, Yugoda, was just telling us that you just went to visit the president and you discussed mutual issues. They were seeing that collaboration on ground here in development. I give you an example. All the agri projects we are doing here, we are doing it in collaboration because the government is also giving support to the federal government for this project to succeed. And we are very happy about that. Now there is also a federal road from Anka to Dakin Takwas, which, because of that collaboration, the governor came and said, look, yes, we can do this road for now because we want our people to have it quickly. And the federal government said, please go and do it. There is no problem, we'll pay you back. Now, again, that is the result of that harmony that is existing between ZAMFARA State and the federal government. We just went to a police secondary school now. Now, the IG, who is from here, said, look, we want to do a secondary school in ZAMFARA. And the governor said, look, come quickly, here is land for it. In 4 months, the school is ready. We've just visited the school here. That's the result of the collaboration between ZAMFARA State and the federal government. Why am I mentioning this? You find that in this country, there is unnecessary grandstanding between federal and state government. That grandstanding is rubbish. What do I say so? The federal government is a service provider for states. In every federation, what federal government do is to create enablement for states to grow. Federal government doesn't have citizens. If we build road here, it's for ZAMFARA. If we build a school, it's for people of ZAMFARA. If we build an industry, it's for people of ZAMFARA. So state governors, state government and federal government must work together for accelerated development of our country. And we have seen that relationship between the federal government and ZAMFARA, and this is the majority of the leadership both in ZAMFARA State and of Mr. President. And we are very, very happy about this. The other issue is the Minister of the Environment is going to be talking to you. Another area we need that collaboration is coming, because the federal government is now working with all other African countries to fight Sahara Desert. You see in our country, since Sadona, my royal fathers will remember, nobody is planting any tree. Nobody is planting any tree. And then as the desert comes, grazers are moving down south. That's why you're having all the problem in North Central. It's environment war between grazers who are living in areas where there is no grass to areas where there is grass, and are now encountering the resistance of farmers, and then you have those clashes. So we must replenish our environment, and the Minister of Environment is going to explain to you the big program the federal government is bringing. That program will give enough jobs for most youths in the northern states, and we need to work on it together to replenish the environment. Now, for the governor of ZAMFARA, Your Excellency, I want you to keep your eyes on the ball. Your road network, the ones we saw in Guso, the ones we saw in Talata Mapara, the ones that we saw around the state yesterday, it means we are giving priority to infrastructure. Because ZAMFARA is the inauguralized place. So you have to open up the rural areas for people to bring the agricultural produce, and open up those areas also for development. So road is a necessity. So prioritizing road for me is a good vision for the governor and for the people of ZAMFARA. Now, in addition to the roads, your educational program is very important, and the chairman, ZAMFARA Basic Education Board, I think what you are doing, both in terms of teacher training and in support for primary schools, rebuilding them so that those ones we saw don't relax until you get them finished, because that is the future of ZAMFARA. Making sure that your children have access to good schools, have access to good teachers. As we went around the state, you could see that there is a challenge with quality of teaching. For example, when we went to the Unity School at Gumi yesterday, we were talking to Panaya students, that's GSS 3. Now, an experienced teacher like me, as I spoke to those students, I know that there are problems. The challenge in English was very obvious, that they have the knowledge, but they cannot express themselves because the English teachers have not done their job. It doesn't mean that those students are dull. They may be one of the best students here, but unfortunately, the quality of teaching, you could see clearly that we need a lot of work. And that is why I believe for ZAMFARA, education as the governor is doing is very, very important for your future. Now, we have also seen that within the state capital, you are doing a lot of roads to give Guso a good face. And you say you're also doing the same thing in all the local government areas. Now, this is very good to upgrade the condition of living of people. Water supply, roads, schools. These are the things that make people want to follow us, because without them, there is no way you can meet the needs of people without them. And I think that from what we have seen, particularly agriculture, roads, network, health services, because we just went to the specialist hospital, we went to the School of Nursing and a few other hospitals. The governor said that 70% of all the projects he has completed were started by his predecessor. And that is the sign of maturity for me. Because the governor can decide to say, look, I will abandon all these projects after I didn't start them. If he abandon them today, the people of ZAMFARA will not benefit. Government is a continuum. Government has no break. We all aim at the same thing. And I think completing projects started by our predecessor, for me, is a good sign of maturity. It's a good sign of putting your money where I think it's important for the development of the people of ZAMFARA state. So on the part of the National Good Governance Tour, I think that this country is heading this democracy. And I want to appeal to our people. This democracy, look, you are all seated in this hall. You have seen many military governors, many military regimes. The progress is not at this rate. The progress is not at this rate. Now, if we allow this democracy to go on with patience, and that patience is this: if you are not in power, don't run down the place. Don't start trouble in your community. Because when you start trouble in your community, it consumes you. It stops you from developing. It destroys you completely. People will come and go. Nobody will be in government forever. How many governments have we seen now in this country? So the mere fact that you are not there today doesn't mean you should tear down the people who are there. No, that is not democracy. What you should do is to cooperate with those who are there today to develop the country. If tomorrow God brings another set of leaders, those people will also need the cooperation of everybody in the country. So that is the message for us in the north. Let us work hard to develop this region. It is a powerful region, and nobody, because when I was coming, one newspaper wrote a funny story that journalists have been stranded here because the northern governors have rejected the National Good Governance Tour, that the federal government has not done anything in the north, which is just sheer partisan thing that we see. Nobody can marginalize the north, because the north is so big, is so huge, population-wise, that if you do not develop the north, how do you develop Nigeria? There's no way you can develop Nigeria. And I can assure you that everything is being done by the federal government in partnership with the state to lay the foundation for the transformation of our country, including and particularly in northern Nigeria. I thank you very much for your attention. ZAMFARA is a historic state and is a historic community, a community of cultured people, and a community of proud people who are making their contribution. What we need is peace and solidarity, and all Nigerians will make this country a great place for our people. I thank you for your attention.
This question is coming from one Malan Zela, Hudu, from Gusau town. Have you been able, what can you show as part of your achievements? Have you done anything for the people of this state? Hudu Zela from Gusau town. The second question is, ZAMFARA state is one of the states in northern Nigeria known to be affected by poverty. As the chief executive of this state, what are you doing to reduce the level of poverty in ZAMFARA state, particularly as it relates to youth employment? This one is coming from one Alhaji Hassan Zubairu from Gumi. Then another one says, my name is Alhaji Yaro from Birnin Magaji, and I'm a farmer. Governor, you know that ZAMFARA state is an agriculturally viable state. Do you intend to help farmers to increase their productivity in this state without interference from middlemen, particularly as it affects the procurement and distribution of fertilizers? Another one is coming from one Mr. Emmanuel Adebisi from Lagos, and he said he is an educationist from Ibadan. He said, I have seen Labarang going around with you, and you were showing him schools in villages that you have constructed for your people all over the place. Sir, do you really have the human capacity to man these schools? I have also seen some of these schools being built without toilets and water facilities. Please, Governor, ensure that you have this in place before I will give you a big pass mark as one of the governors that is investing in the educational sector of your state. Still from the same person, he says, Governor, for students to concentrate in school, they must be properly fed. Do you have any feeding policy under your administration for the students in ZAMFARA state? Feeding policy. The fifth question is saying, Governor, it is alleged that you do not allow leakages in your financial management of state resources. Why is it so? Don't you think you are supposed to reward us after putting you in office? This one is coming from Aminchi Shehu from Anka. Governor, it is alleged that you do not allow leakages in financial management of the state resources. Why is it so? Don't you think you are supposed to reward us after putting you in office? This is Aminchi Shehu from Anka. And then the other one is saying, Governor, you have provided network of good roads in your local government area of Talata, Mafara, including water. Do you have plans to extend these facilities to the 14 other local government areas of the state? And this one is one Alhaji Hassan Ibrahim Kaura Namoda.
Facebook, activities of illegal miners, you say, and yet federal government refuse to clean Ogoni land polluted by legal miners. These are questions for His Excellency, the Executive Governor, from Tefa in Gusau. Your Excellency, you have done a good job in Zamfara State. We have seen massive development in Talata Mafara Township roads. That should be done also in all local government areas of the state, please. Okay, that one is done. From Hajara Usman via Facebook, there is a disconnect. There is a disconnect between you and the state people. Why? From Thomas Oke via Facebook, why did the international community and the international organizations interfere in the Bagega village problems before our own government took action? Why did we allow that's for the Honorable Minister of Environment. Why did we allow the international community to do something first before Nigeria took the next step? Why didn't we move the first step? From Bello Lawal in Bungudu town. Governor, the local government headquarters Township Road project, particularly in Bungudu town, has been stalled by compensation payments. What are you doing about it? From Huzaifa Jidere via Facebook. Another question is coming from Bugega Fege
via Facebook, Haba Gobashot. I don't know about that name. He said, a website is so simple that it will allow people to know about the state. Governor, when shall Zamfara State provide a website for the state? Another question, sir. Activities of bandits have for some time now become a big challenge to security in Zamfara State. Sir, what are the specific measures you have put in place to checkmate this? And also, is there any collaboration with the neighboring states to address the challenge? From Badamasi Haiba, Malumpashi in Katsina State. From Salih Suhaiba, Ashashibi brother, National Planning Commission Abuja, Executive Governor Sir, is there any deliberate policy strategy in place for Zamfara State or by your administration to align with the federal government's development agenda as captured in the Vision 2020 and Transformation Agenda? From Mary Hassan via email in Khartoum, I am writing after I had visited Port Harcourt and would like to commend the Honorable Minister Labara Maku for his non-partisan display of humility in the course of the NGG tour. Now that's what we are talking about. Could Hajia Hadiza Melafia, Honorable Minister of Environment, tell us why the clearing and rehabilitation of lead poisoning took so long to achieve? From Yahya Isa in Lafia, Nasarawa State, via email, the 19 northern governors have resolved at different fora to reposition the new Nigerian newspapers soon after taking over from the federal government in 2006. The staff today are on strike for non-payment of salaries for over 1 year and 5 months. What is your take on this as a member of the forum? That's another question on that one. That the federal government is from Amos Matthew in Kaduna. The federal government just made a part payment of liability owed to new Nigerian newspapers. When will the northern governors pay their own part of liability to staff of the company? From Alisaba to Mamman in Gumi via email, the people are angry that instead of distributing cash to empower his people, our governor is being selective in this gesture, favoring only close associates and stooges. Why? From Antala Manner in Frankfurt, Germany via Facebook, how true is it that grants received from Islamic countries in order to assist the state's Sharia system are being misappropriated by the present administration in particular? From Abba Zakariau in Gusau via email, sources reveal that some supervisory officials of the State Works Ministry receive gratifications from roads and infrastructural contractors. This affects the quality of the final products if not checked. What is the effort of His Excellency in stamping out corruption in his state? I think we should take a break here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yahya Umar. Now the floor is open. If you do have questions, we will start from my left. We'll take one here, one in the middle, and we go that way. Okay, come forward. Give him the mic. Let him come forward. The gentleman there, look at him. I didn't know where this one is coming from.
Your Excellency, It's only 30% are occupied. Instead, I've seen many animals are roaming around grazing. I don't know whether the governor is quite aware of this condition, because it's a kind of market that any state capital would love to have. It is of standard. It could be of international standard. My second question is that I have seen a lot of motorbikes, thousands of motorbikes, meant for distribution to the people. I don't know whether the governor had it in mind the environmental implication. Too many bikes in the city means a lot of emission, and probably the Minister of Environment will have something to say.
Thank you. Thank you. The man in blue. The man in blue.
My name is Mohammed Jekada from Maru. No. My question is directed to the Minister of Information. From what has been said, in respect of what you observed in Zamfara State, it appears that I think the governor has an A mark. It appears that the governor has an A mark. But from what you have seen in other states, since there is no way the federal government can penalize states that have not performed, so I would like to suggest to the Honorable Minister of Information that he should suggest to the federal government that states that perform creditably well should be compensated in terms of conditional grant. There is no harm in giving grants to states that have performed. You have already seen the challenges of development on the ground. Even in Zamfara State, where we are likely to have an A mark, there are still so many things that the governor needs to do, which cannot be done because the resources are limited. The resources that are in his hands are so small in comparison with the kind of problems that are before him. Secondly, in terms of agriculture, I think we are paying a lot of lip service to agriculture in this country. I was reading the other day in one of the dailies, our banks, a consortium of banks, or what they call the syndicated banks, they are raising 470 billion naira for MTN. Now this MTN is owned by only six Nigerians. So if 6 Nigerians, you can raise 470 billion naira for them, then why can't you raise 1 trillion naira for Nigerian farmers? We cannot, since we have not yet fixed our power situation, we should concentrate on agriculture. We are just throwing money, good money after bad money. So I suggest that when you go back, you should discuss with Mr. President and show him the importance of investing in agriculture. The kind of
thank you for your comments. Your name, sir?
My name is Mahi Isa. I'm coming from Kauran Namoda. Your Excellency, permit me to stand on the existing protocol. I also welcome the August visitor, the Honorable Minister. My question, one is to the Honorable Minister and one is to His Excellency, the Governor of Zamfara State. All my questions are on education. I have questions on education because I have keen interest on education because it is my belief that it is the root of development. I first of all commend the federal government for establishing these Almajiri schools, because I believe, just as they believe also, there are a lot of talents that could be tapped from these Almajiris, just like we can tap from nomadic educations, because we are all human beings.
Maybe you just take two.
But my question is, why is it, or what is the delay in taking off of these schools, unlike the neighboring states or other states that have taken off since? That is one tool. Then the Excellency, the Executive Governor, is still on basic education. I participated in this exercise by the UBA on reviewing education right from primary schools. My question is, as far as your implementation of policies are concerned on these primary schools, why is Excellency not embarking or implementing his policy on recommendations passed by this committee on teachers? It is a belief that no teacher, no school. So if the morale of these teachers are not boosted, I believe that education will never go anywhere. These are two questions. Thank you.
Ambassador Bashir Guda, our sister, the Honorable Minister for Environment, and the owner of this gathering, the initiator of this important fora, His Excellency, or the Honorable former Commissioner for Information, and His Excellency the former Deputy Governor, and Honorable Minister for Information, Malan Lavara Maku. Members of the State Executive Council, Honorable Special Advisors, the representative of the Right Honorable Speaker in person of the Deputy Speaker, and the Members of the Assembly here present, Honorable Grand Kadi, members of the State Executive Council, our Royal Fathers, the leaders of our great party, All Nigerian People's Party, and the People's Democratic Party here present, members of the media, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Well, I have about 22 questions. So I will try as much as I can to answer some of them, because time will not allow me. But I'll select quality of work given by the state to the specification or not, and asking me how do I start thinking how to stop corruption. Well, to the best of my knowledge, apart from the official Ministry of Works, each and every project has a consultant. Understanding the little number we have of engineers to match each and every project we have, we consolidate and support the engineers with the consultants of each and every particular project. Despite that, I did not just leave it to go like that. I personally took 30% of my stay in office to supervise projects, and that is making a great impact. But in any way, this is a challenge. Ministry of Works, you should redouble your thinking, because people are saying maybe whether you are doing what you are supposed to or not. An issue corruption is a wider discussion, but I think one day we'll have a forum for it, and to the best of my ability, I'm doing my best to ensure that we stop leakages in the treasury or in the government spending. Another question came from Ali Sabatu Mamman. He said that people are angry that the governor is not distributing cash to them. Well, I think the money we are receiving in ZAMFARA state as allocation for the management of government people and providing necessary needs, if I said, okay, I will share those monies to the people of ZAMFARA state. Our population now is about 3,700,000 approximately. And if I also believe that one day I will stay as I'm doing here before you, I'll do the same before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give the account of my stewardship, which is all centered on the finances, on the trust. If I did not distribute the cash equally, it's another thing. And if I'm to distribute the cash, I doubt much if each and every citizen can have 1,000 naira every month. From what I'm receiving from the Federation account and what we are generating as internally generated revenue, if I'm to share it to all citizens of ZAMFARA state by this number, I doubt much if each and everyone can have 1,000 naira every month. So therefore, the only way of equitable sharing is to provide the basic needs for the people of ZAMFARA state to enjoy, as Honorable Minister is saying, that all what the effort of federal government and state government are doing, for instance, Gusau Puntua Road is built by the federal government. There's no toll gate from the Minister of Works and say, show your ID card or card carrying member of PDP only will follow that road. Or the road that is linking a state-owned road, like one of Colony down to Oko, and say only a card carrying member of ANPP will follow that road. I think all the government are doing for the betterment of the whole citizens. And that's where the money, the cash you're talking about supposed to be centered. And as well, if we did not build our primary basic education as we are advantaged to be, having a good teachers to teach us to where we are today, and we decide to share those monies, those our children and our grandchildren, what do you think will be their future? So government is not about sharing money, because government has not enough money to share, any government of the world, but it's trying to do a kind of social services and as well to provide good governance. This one is from Frankfurt, from Germany. Dantala Manir, who is saying that whether it's true that there is a grant received by the government from the Islamic nations like Qatar, Kuwait and others. Well, there's no grant given to me or as to best of my knowledge, but I know there is assistance even from Japan. There's a Japan funds, there's DFID, that you said, all of them they are here. In last 2 weeks, in last two days or 3 days, I was was the country director of DFID who told me that they are budgeting 570 million for ZAMFARA State for cash transfer to improve the nutrition of less privileged. So apart from this kind of gesture and other means from the international donors, there is no grants being sent to ZAMFARA State to the best of my knowledge, because I have not received any since assumption in office. The first question from Zainab. Zainab, she's asking whether now I can assess my performance getting down to 2 years in office. Well, this question is difficult for me to answer because I didn't know to talk of myself, but rather I allow the public to assess me. If I am, then people of ZAMFARA State know, and if not, they are also the judges. This one also comes from Hassan Zubairu about the issue of poverty alleviation. We are doing our best in terms of poverty alleviation or poverty reduction. If you could remember, our team in youth in ZAMFARA State capital, Gusau, along last year, we employed the services of over 1,000 youths for the environmental sanitation and tree plantation. And we bought trucks for them because we did in the way that is supposed to be done, in a kind of private partnership initiative. I copied this from my colleague outside here when I saw that the program can be copied here and is also very excellent. We share ideas. I bought the vehicle and I gave it to a group of youths on loan, and I directed the youths to employ, each and every group to employ at least 200 to start with, so as that we can reduce the number of youths are just roaming on the street. And we set them on the allowance. We told them that this is what we are going to give you, and this is what we are going to give you as allowances at least every month, and this is what we are going to pay for the company that are giving the services of cleaning the Gusau Metropolitan, and that is ongoing. And as well, last year we support a number of thousands of people in terms of transportation, ranging from buses to minicars to motorcycle to tricycle and what have you. We supported people in the area of transportation because there may be a call in the future that you build the roads, but there's no vehicle to ride on top of that road. So I decided to invest in that, and also to invite the team unemployed to give them on loan and to pay back at least 60% of what we purchase those vehicles. And as done last year, and even this year we are going to do the same. And on the same vein, on this issue of environment, we bought a truck, about 70 trucks that we are going to start with for the cleaning and tree plantation on each and every local government, 14 local government in the state. We are going to employ 250 youths at each and every local government. So we are trying to do one or two things to ensure that we reduce the poverty. But one thing, let me join this question as well with the question just immediately asked by the Abubakar Abdurrahman on employment of 20,000 youths, all to serve under the state government or local government. Government is not the major employer as a global practice. If you go to some other developed nation, you will see that anyone that you saw working under government, that is not intelligent. You run around the entire country that we are moving shoulder to shoulder. Somewhere like Malaysia, somewhere like even what do you call it, Bangladesh, Saudi Arabia, where we have the same issue of oil and what have you. You cannot identify where is Ministry for because all the graduates, they did their discipline where they are going to have the market. Maybe on engineering, on architecture, on what have you. But in our case here, you may see a graduate. Now, let me set you an example. Last 2 weeks, we had a Quranic recitation. The vice president asked me that I should give him the number of people that, because PHCN will do employment on distribution, I should give him the number of graduate that has BSc in electrical engineering. We struggle, hardly we get 35 in the entire Zamfara state. Graduate that has BSc in electrical engineering, this is the opportunity, but we cannot get them. But if we say we are looking for accountancy, we can get 2,000, 3,000 at a time. If I employ 3,000 accountants, where do I put them? If I employ 3,000 in local government administration, where do I put them? If I employ 3,000 that has management, where do I put them? But in any case, now we are looking for qualified teachers to teach in our primary school because we provide infrastructure, and we are on the action of taking at least 2,000 to 3,000 teachers, those that are qualified to teach. No problem, we are going to do that on the qualification of merit, not because you are my son, or you are the brother of my son, or your father is a party chairman, or what have you. No, it's going to be based on merit, because that's what kills the education. The employment is based on whom do you know, but not because you are qualified to teach. That is suffering we are. As somebody just asked, so before he rated me as the best governor, the infrastructure that I have, whether I have people to manage it. So we are doing our best, and I think we will continue to do some on the issue of poverty reduction. On the agriculture, someone asked question, Alhaji Ubrin Magaji. On agriculture is one of our priorities. Emmanuel, who asked the question of, I think I answered half of it, that the infrastructure we are putting in education, whether we have the quality staff to manage it, because he saw so many classrooms, but there's no toilet. I think maybe the ones he saw, but each and every classroom is got as a package. Toilet, offices, and classrooms. So if there's no in some, the UBE, you can hear the question so that you can do your action plan in 2013. And as well, of course, we have a difficulty in having the qualified teaching materials or teaching staff, but we are now doing our best to ensure that we have the best teacher to teach. As comment made by the Honorable Minister when we are in Nizamiya Anka, he made mention that we are advantaged because we have the advantage to have a good teachers that are willing to teach. They are willing, they have the zeal, they decide teaching is their profession. But today the most unfortunate, and I can recall also the Honorable Minister says that we must have a kind of retreat, or not, we call the traditional rulers, we called the education secretary, we called all the headmasters and sat them down to talk to them what's happened to the education. We are expanding a large sum of money, paying salaries and all other things, but the issue of teaching is not there in the primary school because there's no will and zeal to do the teaching. But the teachers are only ready to collect salaries and go. And if they had even to say that we standing here, we are treated the way they are treating our children today, we have not been here. And we shall put it at back of our mind that tomorrow, those are people to replace us. If we did not give them the quality what they are supposed to receive, then we are finished. Because the society will go nowhere. So therefore, we are having the problem there, and we are trying line by line to address it because the problem did not start now. It started over years. So we are taking our time gradually to see how we can be able to resolve it, and we are going to get there, inshallah. One Hassan, I think, is it Hassan? Alright, he's asking about Talata Bratan Shibrot. Hussein, is it okay? Hussein Ibrahim, he from Qaura Namora is asking about Talata Bratan Shibrot. And he hoped that all the Taran Shibrot in other local government will be done as Talata Fra, which I already taken step to that. Talata Mafra so far is about 21.5 kilometers on ongoing projects. I think the first phase has been completed and they are now on the second phase. And as well, all other local government in the 14 local government area in the state, the contract has been awarded some 25 kilometers, some 21, some 22, some 27 respectively according to the size. And some of the major areas, for instance, in Maru, the gesture extended to Dansado, not the state of Maru alone. In town like Bungudu, the gesture extended to Kotarkoshi, not only in Bungudu. And there are some other local government like that. So this project is fully funded by the local government. And so far, we have paid the 30% to all contractors. And we have the money for the project which we are targeting, inshallah, by the January 15, 2000 and January 1st or January 2015, the total project of the whole local government will be taken over by the respective agencies and ministries. One Hassan Shehu, he's asking about the welfare of workers and by extension 18,000 minimum wage. Well, I think this matter is laid to rest because by inception in August, in May, we have done that in August 2011. But the only ball of contention with the union, which they admit and they agree, that the laws tell us to pay 18,000, says no worker should earn less than 18,000. And when they are struggling to say we are not paying 18,000, we said, well, there's two issues here. Whether we are paying 18,000, or whether you are asking for 18,000, or you are asking for relativity, which we agree with your mother union in the national, that we are going to pay 18,000, but relativity is going to be in accordance with the capacity of the state, of state earning. As so many examples I gave, I said, anybody who is thinking among the union that I, governor of ZAMFARA state, I will pay the total workforce of 28,000 as a then, 18,000 naira with full relativity, as Amechi in Rivers will do, he is deceiving himself because I cannot do it. And I think the union, all of them agree with me that it's not possible. So my earning and the Rivers is about thrice or 5 times. So therefore, there's no how you will do just to me. They are to ask me to pay relativity. But in any way, we have done the 18,000 since August 2011, and we also get to somewhere in the issue of relativity has been concluded last 2 months ago, and I think that matter has come to rest. Someone is asking that, is it Hassan who is asking me, why do I disconnect with the people of Zamfara State? But I don't know what he's meaning by disconnection. Because I think if I'm in Zamfara State, I cannot spend a week without creating what will take me close to my people, either on visitation or on private tour or any other thing. And there are no day when the government and the people disconnect. But I don't know his own interpretation what is meaning by disconnect. If it's meaning that to open the government house, everybody to be there, I think that's not what disconnect. And if he's thinking that, okay, leave the gate of government house, let everybody be there, I think I cannot govern anyone. Because it's not possible for any governor to do that. But what is important is the governance, and see what this governance is all about. And which I believe, I'm convinced that the governance is taking place in Zamfara State, and we are doing the best to give the service that we are taking into confidence and shoulder responsibility with. So therefore, I am not quite sure whether the interpretation of disconnect and what he's talking about is in line with. But in any way, I am not disconnected with my people, because I do stay in office, sometimes 2 days in office, 3 days in tour, even during the weekends. So I'm taking myself closer to the people that brought me to be their watchman in their management of affairs in the administration of Zamfara State. Bello Bongotu is asking of compensation. Of course, this is a challenge, but we are about to address it. Some of the local government, they have done their own, and I'm with the Commissioner for Lands, and as well as Commissioner for Local Governments. Some of the local government, they have not finished their own, but those that are done and finished, inshallah, from this month, the compensation will start getting into them, and then the work will continue. As promised that, inshallah, the money, the content of the money is large, but there's no problem. We are taking, you take us to confidence, and we are taking you to confidence. Anything that is not doable, I will not stay and put my hand on it. So therefore, this project is a reality and it's serious. I'm taking as my life project. So therefore, take me to confidence that this project is going to be done and send it over as scheduled, inshallah. Huzaifa, he asking why the people, students in the first state are not speaking a very good English. Well, this is a very big question. I think if I allow himself, he can equally answer this question. Not so throw it to me. Because the issue of education, I'm not yet clocked 2 years in managing affairs in Zamfara State. So I doubt much if when the government I am administering now, that perform or do below performing what cause our students of School of Learning are not speaking a very good English. But Labaran Marku also made mention of something like that he was in community school yesterday. He can see the purpose, they have the idea, but how they are going to express it. He said that it's lacking a quality of teaching. So from where the lacking of quality of teaching started? It's from us. An English teacher is still willing to teach a very good English for a student to learn a very good English. As we are discussing with him, he said that when we are in primary 2, we can read and we can write in English. We can read and write. We can read Maleo and others, Magana Jara and all other things. But now give it to a class 6 people to see if they can read. If you give them, I doubt if you can even write their name correctly. So the problem is from us, and we need to stand up and address this matter. Because government alone, I believe, cannot do it. What is the problem? Government is providing the deserved infrastructure. Government is paying the right salary to the people, to the teachers. Government is doing everything to see that there is no problem in the area of education. But why the problem came from? Where? That we don't have a very producing a very good graduate in our primary school and our secondary school. So the problem is from us. For instance, when the report, somebody is asking me that to implement the report of professors, group of professors that submitted a report here in this room. Why are we not implementing it? We did not say that we are not going to implement it. I think that document must be respected. But the issue here is, in the recommendation, as the Honorable Chairman told the Minister yesterday, that someone asked a question about the quality of teaching. He said, the professor says about 6,000 of our teachers that are teaching in the primary school, they are not supposed to be in this environment if they are not going to be teaching. There's another question. That in Zamia, I can remember this in the Zamia Anchor. Somebody asked in the social media question that about the quality. He said in the document we have here, the recommendation was about 6,000. The professor said it's forbidden for them to be in the door of classroom because they are not qualified in any way. But in this case, how are you going to do it? Immediately to ask them to be sacked or to go away? You create another social problem. So therefore you have to handle this situation so that you cannot so we are doing it. That's why we are having that center. We are taking them batch by batch, giving them training and retraining so that they can be able to cope, so that they can be able to be productive. So we are on that. Someone asked about the bandits, armed bandits. Tim Badamasi something asked about something about the bandits. I think in this issue of armed bandits, the areas that are more critical, they are aware that there's a progress as I'm talking to you now. The chief law enforcement officer of this nation is from this soil, and himself, that's I'm talking about the Inspector General of Police, he's from this particular state, and he shows a very, very serious concern. What is happening? We have been putting our fingers together, we are putting all our hands on deck, both him and myself and the agencies here, to see how we can get rid out of this situation. But the situation, I believe, is improving, not as it was before. And we shall know that the issue of security challenges is a global issue. People always want to commit crime. The onus is in them. So government is doing all it can. For instance, now we have a special police task force, about 5 units from the Inspector General of Police that are in various places, what they call a flash point. We have taken them there for the past 3 months. They are there, and we are going to try them for another 3 months, and we are getting a day by day a progress on what's going on there, because it's not unlike before. Our rulers here, our royal fathers, can attest to this. So we are doing our best, and the security agency as well, they are doing their best. Someone asked what were we doing about the issue of 2020 transformation agenda of the federal government, whether we are going together, we are working together to achieve that. Federal government is working on behalf of all the state governments. Where it's necessary, we must put our hands together to achieve it. We must collaborate. And the effort of government in the federal and in the state is going in consonant. So all the program of government, that's why we are having a National Economic Council that is mandatory, that our sub-governors and our chairman, the vice president, on behalf of president, we must start and address the issue of Nigerian economy every month at least once. So therefore, the entire transformation agenda is not only for the president, but is a born child of that particular neck. And we are the drivers. So therefore, you shouldn't think that the president is left and we are right, or is from right, we are left. We are going together in one line, because what you are here, all of us, is to deliver. There's one party, but I don't know what she asked. I just write her name. I don't know. So, Mala Ardo, we are talking about the issue. Kana magana kan hurumi. Alhamdulillah, the reason I was talking in Hausa because I think you will understand better. Mutanen za su gane me ake magana akai. Magana hurumi, alhamdulillah ga sarakuna nan duka. Mun yi mitin da shugaban sarakuna wata rana. Lokacin da abu ya kamari sai aka ce wai ana zuwa ana ba takardar noma yanka gandun daji, cewa ai gwamna ne ba da takarda a je a yanka gandun daji. Ma'aikatar kula da muhalli ta yi ta tallatawa cewa wannan magana ƙarya ce, kuma duk wanda aka kama a kai shi gaban hukuma. To Ardo, ni da a gwamna ban san da magana yanka gandun daji ba, kuma duk wanda a jihar Zamfara ban ce da kowa hula ba. In wani ya ce na bashi mita guda, na rubuta ƙarya yake. Mita guda, in na ce a yanke dajin Fulani a ba wani mita guda, to ni ƙarya yake bane. In kuma ba ƙarya nake yi ba, to ya samu wata hanya wadda zai faɗi cewa abin da gwamna faɗi ƙarya ne. Ko in yana nan ya zo faɗi na cewa ka bayani takarda in je in noma kaza. Shugaban sarakuna yana iya shaida ta, ya zo mana takardu cewa ga wasu mutane sun zo sun ce ka ba su. And what is important in the letter, cewa the executive governor of ZAMFARA state is approved 50 hectares. For you, I can remember one letter is taking 57 hectares or 47. Then I saw who signed the letter. Na ga wanda ya rubuta wasiƙa sai nace to a kira shi. Da an kira shi yana nan, kwamishinan 'yan sanda na zaune, ina ji a tuwa da security meeting wannan lokaci. Da aka kawo takardu sai nace mashi ya karanta takardar nan, na bashi nace ya karanta. Ya fara magana sai nace ya karanta abin takardar ta ce. Sai ya ce mai girma gwamna ya yi approving din cewa a ba da gandun daji ga mai sunawa ne. Sai na tambaye shi, na ce da gaske ne ni na baka approval a ba da gandun daji? Sai ya ce a'a. Sai na ce to mai martaba kana ji, saboda haka yanzu a sanar da sauran sarakuna duk wanda ya je ebi gandun daji kowane ne abin doka ta ce a mai hukunci, kuma ko siyasar gwamna ya kai ko ta shugaban kasa. I think you are talking about time. Okay. So da yake ana ta ce man lokaci yayi, to akwai maganin da zan yi, ina so in bada hakuri ga sauran tambayoyin domin in taɓa wasu abubuwa. The Honourable Minister, let me use this opportunity to thank you. We have been discussing with you, and I have the ample opportunity to understand you more, because when you brought this matter of, I think one, you give us the explanation in the forum, and when in the neck, you also come with this good governance tour. Some of the governors didn't understand what the honorable minister is talking about. And some of the governors thinking that I think federal government want to play one or two things to expose us or to expose some of our colleagues. I think that's what the tour is all about. So some of us try to be difficult to accept the minister. But today, as I'm standing here, and I believe many of my colleagues are watching, I think there's no initiation made by the federal government in the exception of this country today. I don't know Sardauna time and not time because I'm not there by then. I think Baba Emi Abgumi is around that time around. So I don't know what happened then. But this initiation right from the military is the best ever I've seen, and I recommend. Because this is a wake-up call for us that are trusted in the public funds, that we need to stand up and do the right thing. At least even if not Marco say anything, even if any of the social media didn't comment anything on you, you are being covered, you have been going around, tell us or show us in style what happened. I think you need to show a good thing that you have done in your stewardship for 6 years or in 2 years, respectively. So therefore, this is a very good initiation that I wholeheartedly accept. And I also say that to the Honorable Minister, this is a very good job well done for the entire people of Nigeria. And I hope that from time to time, after 2 years, this kind of exercise will repeat itself because of its importance. The Honorable Minister, we have went round and you saw some of the effort made under 2 years by of this administration. And I think this is not just from me. I know it's guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gives us the opportunity to do this. And as well, we have the people cooperation. And what you say over and above, the peace and security of our states. That's what gives us the opportunity. Because if you could remember, you told me one word yesterday, that all these things we are seeing, if something happened and my attention was diverted, I will have not get far where I am today. So I have to sincerely thank the entire people of ZAMFARA State who give me the support and desire the government to do the right things at the right time. More especially our royal fathers who are updoing to ensure that the security and peace in their respective places are maintained. Government in all tiers is about development. It's about development. That's all. And people of ZAMFARA State can bear me witness. The one I came in, some of my party people are surprising. Why that I'm not taking that this because of politician, the aggressive politician who started from a party secretary to chairman, chairman to coordinator, coordinator to house of reps to where I am today. So then why am I saying that the politics should be kept aside and continue with the governance? Because that's the way to achieve development. When I'm a secretary, I'm a different person. When I'm a chairman, I'm a different person. When I'm the House of Rep member, I'm a different person. And 3,700,000, and whether I like it or not, I must give account before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore, I'm a completely different person from what you're taking up. So therefore, I must do this thing, putting at the back of my mind, you, my friend, my brother, my party man, when I'm giving that question, you cannot help me. The only that what will help me, the justice I'd play during my stewardship. That's only what will save me. So therefore, I decided to do the right thing and keep other things aside so that we can be able to see the day of the light, and also we can be able to see something on ground. The Honorable Minister, I need not to give the history on how we came on board. The only thing I can tell you that we are committed to our people, and what ZAMFARA people did to me in person, I don't know how to pay them if I did not create these ways of doing things. I don't know. Because I cannot take money and give you, because money cannot go around. But I have to be on top of the whole issues. so that if I do right, the question will be centered on me. If I do otherwise, no one is responsible but me. So therefore, I have to be 24/7 with my brain, thinking, where do I go? How do we do it? How we are going to? And I can tell you, Honorable Minister, the entire project in ZAMFARA State here, because of time, I can list you offered now one by one how many kobo I paid, and I can tell you in each of the account of ZAMFARA State how much balance I have today here now without anything, because I'm on top of it. So somebody asked that, why that I'm not allowing some things to happen. Not that I'm not allowing some things to happen, but I'm trying to see how things goes right. Even as I said one time, this money that came from Abuja and the one that we are getting locally here, if the entire people of ZAMFARA State say, okay, Governor, we allow you do whatever you want, we don't need salary, we don't need infrastructure, take it, you and your family. Believe me, will not be enough for me. That's the nature of human being. I'll look for something after my tenure. So likewise, if I collect it all in all and say, Maku, take it to your home, Nasarawa, take it, go with it, will not be enough for him. That's the nature of human being. So what do you
is the Federal Ministry of Environment to remediate and clean up 406 houses, including the walls in the houses, and to scrape the topsoil and replace it with another soil, mechanically done and scientifically done, as well as applying cement to cover all the infected areas. The industrial area is more than 40 hectares. People have moved away. Your Excellency, the Governor and the ministers and members of the press were with us. You saw what used to be a place that had well over 1,000 grinding machines. You saw it clear now. So that money is for Ministry of Environment. After we leave, the Ministry of Health will come to work on further medication for the inhabitants. And finally, the Ministry of Mines and Steel will come in to further train people on how to do safer mining by teaching them safer mining techniques. The next question I had was on waste management. The federal government has policies in place. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Waste management and other environmental issues are on concurrent lists. We expect that the states and local governments take initiative. But I am glad to tell you that in partnership with Kano and Ekiti states, we've been able to start waste recycling plants in these two states. The ones in Lagos and Kaduna have been test run, and we're still working hard to get many more people on board. I think these are the questions that I remember. Assalamu alaikum. Mai girma gwamna a bani izini dan yi takaitaccen bayani a Hausa saboda ina so in samu a fahimce ni fiye da kima. Na farko dai maganan wannan dalma da aka yi a Bagega na riga na yi bayani. Babu yanda za a ce mutane Allah ya wadatar da su ya aje su a inda ni'ima take, inda za a samu dukiya, a ce wai a'a kada su amfana daga dukiyar nan. Gwamnatin tarayya ba abin da ta ce ba kenan. Abin da gwamnatin tarayya ta ce shine a yanzu abin da ake yi a wurin, duk matar da ke da ciki ko ɗan da aka haifa shekaru 5 da suka wuce yana da dalma a jikinsa, a cikin jininsa. Sannan kuma wannan dalma tana zuwa kwakwalwa ne. Idan ta riga ta shiga kwakwalwa ba yanda za a yi. Hatta haddan da ake yi, idan mutum zai haddan sura ya wata ɗaya, wani irin ɗan da aka haifa yanzu sai ya shekara bai rike ta ba. Musamman da ya fara su suratul nisa'i da sauransu yana hunna an tunna, ba zai tuna ba. Ba zai tuna ba saboda kwakwalwarsa cuta ta riga ta shiga. So abin da muke gudu shine don girman Allah, kudaden da gwamnatin tarayya ta bada ta ce a je a share wannan wurare, ma'aikatan lafiya ta zo ta ƙara bada magani, ma'aikatan ma'adinai ta zo ta koya wa jama'a yadda za a samu arziki ba tare da a halaka ba. Shine muka ce don Allah a saurara, a taimaka, a fahimce mu. Na biyu, akwai abin da gwamnati take yi tare da ƙasashen duniya guda 11. Akwai Senegal, akwai Mali, akwai Mauritania, akwai Djibouti, ga sunan dai ƙasashe 11 an ce a gonakin nan. Za kuma a baka ilimin cewa wannan ƙasa, saboda ƙasashen waje da yawa suna noma da ilimi ne. Yanzu an daina abubuwan rayuwa da yawa da ƙarfi. An daina saboda da ƙarfi ne bature ba zai yi jirgin sama ko ya tuka mota ba. Ana yi ne da lissafi da kwakwalwa. Za a ba da ilimin da zai taimaka mutane su rika shuka iri yanda zai tashi. Babban tambayar da muke samu shine to in an ce za a yi shukan nan za a biya ni diya ake cewa ko? Babu maganar diya. Idan wannan takardar da na rike gona ce ta mutum biyu, nan gonan Malam Ilu, in aka zo aka ce don Allah taimaka mana gwamnati tana so ta shuka gwaiba, in ka ce mangwaro kake so, in aka duba zai yi sai a sa mangwaro, in kuma ba zai yi ba za a ce maka gwaiba za ta fi. Idan nan gonan Malam Musa ne aka zo aka shuka, shikenan. Idan wannan mangwaro da gwaiba sun nuna na waye, na Malam Ilu ne da Malam Musa. Abinda ake so kawai ku ba da izini a yi wannan, saboda yanda ake ma sare itatuwa ba a shuka su. Ko a addini ice na da mahimmanci, da ba za a yi maganar Hawwa'u da Adamu kan su tsinki wani abu ba. muna shan gwaiba, muna shan lemu, muna cin gwanda, ba ma shukawa. Saboda haka abinda muke so don girman Allah a daure a shuka itatuwa kuma a raya su don akwai lada. A takaitaccen bayani kenan, da fatan cewa ciyaman ɗin Zurmi ko yana nan, mai girma gwamna, da ciyaman ɗin Shinkafi. Da na Zurmi da na Shinkafi su ne muhimmai. Masu girma iyayenmu sarakuna za mu ƙara dawowa. Muna roƙo da tausassan murya da biyayya don girma Allah a taimaka mana, al'umma su taimaka, saboda babu yanda za mu yi sai idan wanda suke ƙasa sun yadda sun yi na'am da wannan shiri. Assalamu alaikum.
Every question that was asked, I would just want to re-emphasize two things. The first one is that the railway project is moving from Zaria through Guso up to Karanamoda. They have started work from that end and it will be completed. Also, the modern railway is going to all parts of the country in addition to this one that we are doing. So take that, please. That is what we are doing. For agriculture, there is a lot of money for farmers. I said we have 450 billion that has been set aside by the CBN in partnership with Ministry of Agriculture. So that money is there and is going to go to farmers. Also, the president has directed that the Bank of Agriculture should be upgraded so that much more money will be available for farmers. So it is there. What is happening is that between the federal government and states, the formula is being worked out so that people can access this money at lower credit for development of agriculture in the north. So that one is coming, there is no doubt. The 10,000 jobs for youth through Shopee, already there are committees being set up for states. So that is 10,000 for federal government. The Shopee's money is divided into three. One part for local government, they take their own directly from the federation account. The second part for state governments, they take their own directly from federation account. But the one for the federal government, it is what we are using to build additional roads now, do railways, and we are employing 10,000 youth per state, women, youths, and the poor. That one is definitely going to come. 10,000 for 3 years, that is 30,000 for every state, including ZAMFARA. So I'm urging the youth of this state, please shine your eyes and clear your ears and listen to stories, because I know it's going to come. So you watch out for your own portion. Finally, why do I believe so much in this government? I believe so much in this government because, one, for a very long time, we have not had a president like Goodluck Jonathan. Because he's very humble, people take him for granted. But you know, quiet people, humble people, those are the ones that God will use to change your life. It is not by coming on a horse with whip. No, it is brain work. The man has a proper program for the development of Nigeria, and I'm working with him daily. So I know his commitment, I know his seriousness, and I know that the Nigerian economy has not grown faster than it is doing now since Gowon's time. So I want to assure you that keep all these bitter politics aside. This man, he never knew he would be president because he's from a very humble background. And he's committed to changing this country. He loves Nigeria and his programs are working. We are building 10 power plants, for example. I've gone and I've shown them on television. 10 power plants for the first time in Nigeria at this period. So I believe that if this man has the opportunity and our country has peace, between now and another 1 year, Nigerians are going to see more results than we're seeing now. It will take time for Nigeria to change. If governors are working like the one we're seeing here with the president, I believe over time our country will change. We should leave partisanship. This country is for all of us, no matter where you come from. God loves this country and it's a beautiful country, it's a rich country, and our leaders should cooperate to change Nigeria. That is why we're doing this good governance tour. Thank you, people of ZAMFARA. Please, let there be peace always. Thank you very much.
We are very much glad
Of this citizens forum in ZAMFARA state, we started with prayers, we are going to end with prayers. So may I, at this juncture, invite the state Grandadi, as the person of Madam Abubakar Gumi, to please come forward and lead us in the closing prayer. Madam Abubakar Gumi.